Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
In just 38 days, the nation turns 250, even though I believe it died in 1861. What are we celebrating? We're going to talk about that and so much more on Thursday's Karel Show. So there. It is the Karel Show. I am Karel, so very glad you are joining me on this Thursday, May 28th. Oh my God, May gone. Bye. See ya. By the time I come back, well, tomorrow we have a show this gay week with Scott Jacobson, who is in the Ukraine still. He will tell us what life is like there after the big bombing and everything, and then we'll talk about gay things. And that will be tomorrow, Friday, so stay tuned for that. And then, of course, back on Monday. But today is Thursday, and we've got things to talk about, things to discuss. The on-again, off-again war. I can't keep track. Have we accepted? Have we not accepted? Oil prices up, oil prices down. Oil prices go up and down more than a hooker at the Orleans on a Friday night. I'm telling you. I mean, just up, down, up, down. More than, really. There is so much up, down in Iran, you'd think it was Viagra clinic. It's ridiculous. But we're going to talk about a little bit of that. I was watching a little tiny bit of Stephanie Miller this morning. I try not to, not because she's bad, but because I don't want to influence anything that I'm doing with how another host does it. David Hall told me a very long time ago not to listen to talk radio, not to watch, just do my own thing. And that way it'll stay more organic. And I believe that. I believe that. But one thing that I noticed this morning on Steph, they were talking about health with a doctor. Because, RFK Jr. is insane. He's out wrestling snakes. Of course, he sells snake oil, so I think that's sort of appropriate. But we're on our own. The CDC is, and Ebola is out there now, and actually someone from the U.S. has it, and that's a horrible disease that could spread and kill billions of people. So, when we got hantavirus worries, the cruise ship and all of that, and I wanted to care. I really did. But how do I say this? Yesterday, I had complete labs done for my general practitioner appointment tomorrow, my neurology appointment next Wednesday, and my cardio appointment next Friday in Long Beach. This is my 6th month. In December, I see doctors, and in June, I see doctors. That's when I see doctors. I wanted to care about Ebola and hantavirus and all that, but all I was caring about was my labs that were coming back. I don't know if it's a good policy or a bad policy that they post your results prior to your doctor seeing them, or that they post them at all. I mean, I know part of me says it's a good thing, but another part of me says that it's not really a good thing, because back in the days of AIDS, you could find out you were HIV positive at the health clinic, and there was no doctor there. There was just the person giving you the results. And so you would leave if you were positive. Luckily, I never was. You would leave stunned and feeling like you're going to die, and with no medical counsel. And it's sort of that way now, where the Quest or LabCorp or whatever, they serve up your results in the portal, and you can see them prior to the doctors. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Nowadays, people are feeding them into ChatGPT and asking it, what's going on. And so that's what I was concerned about. Now, most of my labs are okay, just to ease your mind. I have 4 that are in the red out of 100 plus results for a 63-year-old man. The 3 that are in the red all the time or every other time is polycythemia, slightly elevated red blood cells, hemoglobin, hematocrit, and not even 1 point over, or just 1 point. In other words, if high for red blood cells was 5.9, I'm like 6.5. So not even a whole point. And hemoglobin, high is 17.9. I'm 18.4. So again, not even a whole point. And we know what causes that. I have mild sleep apnea. They gave me a dental device that I had to have made and everything. And it keeps me in the 90s for oxygen when I sleep, but that's low. You're supposed to be 95 or above. I go down to 90, 91, 92 when I sleep when I wear that device. If I don't wear the device, I go into the 80s, which is bad. Some people go into the 60s and 70s, which is really bad. But I don't qualify for a CPAP because I don't stay at 88 for longer than 15 minutes. So I got to do the mountain. And so that makes me make more red blood cells to carry more oxygen because I have a lot. So at least I know that. I know why they're red.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
Rachel says she looks at her blood test online and get a good idea of what's going on. I agree. Look, I figured out the polycythemia. Okay, my doctors did what's called a JAK2 mutation test, which is to see if my polycythemia was cancer. 90% of the people that have the cancer have the JAK2 mutation. I don't. Polycythemia can be secondary to another thing. Mine is secondary to sleep apnea. So when I sleep, my blood, I'm hypoxic. My blood oxygen goes down into the low 90s. It's not supposed to. And that's with the device. And they're happy about that. They're like, oh, great, it's staying in the 90s. And I'm like, it should be 95 or above. And because of that, I have the polycythemia. Also, during the day, sometimes my O2 sats lower because of what happens overnight. So we know about that. We know why. And the only other thing that was in the red was my glucose, my fasting glucose. Now, normally it's 99, 98, 97. Yesterday, it was 100. Now, technically, that's not, quote, high. It's 100 and above is high. But it should be a little lower. I exercised right before the blood test, did 30 minutes of yoga and walked 2 miles. That can actually raise your blood sugar a little, even if you haven't eaten. And it's been 101 and 102 before. My A1C is 5.4. It's been there at 5.4 for 4 years. Before that, it was 5.0 and 4.9, which is what I want to get it back to. 5.7 and above is pre-diabetic. 5.7 to 6.5 is pre-diabetic. 6.5 and above, diabetic. I am 5.4. So I'm 0.3 away from pre-diabetic, but I stay there. It's been 5.4 for the last 3 years. And that's important that it's steady, but I want it to drop. So the blood work, and my EGFR is normal. It's 93. That's your kidneys. But mine is normally 97 and 98. Now, anything above 85 for a 63-year-old man is considered good. So 93 is considered good, but I like it to be 97, 98. My kidneys should be, full functioning. By the time you die, it's often down into the 60s and 70s, but, I'm not there yet. So it's not in the red. It just bothered me that it was 93 instead of, last time it was 97. And I'm like, I take care of my kidneys. And so I obsess over, I'm one of these people that don't do well with all the info because I obsess even when something is in the green. Because if it's close to being out of the green, I'm like, yeah, it's in the green, but it's close to being out. And the doctor's all, if it's green, do not worry. I'm all, but it's green, but it's close to the, and she's all, stop it. The good news is my LDL cholesterol was 105 in November, which is 5 points over where it should be, and really 35 above 70. I want it to be below 70. Most people below 100 is okay. It went down to 80. So all of my cutback really, my cholesterol, what is it? Without a statin. Okay, without a statin. No statin. How many of you can say without a statin that your cholesterol is, where is mine? Oh, here it is. My total cholesterol without a statin, total, 155. Anything below 200, and they don't medicate, 155. My good cholesterol, HDL, which is supposed to be over 40. Your HDL cholesterol is supposed to be over 40. My good cholesterol is 51. Yay! Now, my triglycerides are normal. It's 131, and 150 and above is abnormal. But I want those lower. I want those below 100. And my LDL went from 105 to 81, so it's now in normal range. So my cholesterol is great. Why? I am a vegan. I did some research yesterday about the countries that are the most vegan or vegetarian. What countries, 2 countries in the world, do you guys think are the most vegetarian or vegan? Which 2 countries? Which do you think? I'll let that be a running question till the end of the show. What 2 countries in the world? Well, you guys are just going to look it up on Google or ChatGPT. See, you can't do questions like that anymore. The answer, because you could just look it up. The answer is India's number 1, where 30% of the population is vegetarian and 12% are vegan, making 42% of the population people that don't eat meat. How about that? Mexico is number 2. Isn't that something? With 19% vegetarian and 9% vegan, for a total of 28% of the people that don't eat meat or dairy. Or I'm sorry, don't eat meat. The United States is dismal. It's so dismal. Oh my God, it's so dismal. The United States, what was it? Oh, it was just really... So the top vegan nations and vegetarian. Israel and Palestine, number 1. Thailand, Taiwan, India, Indonesia, Italy, United Kingdom, Mexico, Vietnam, and Canada. Those are the top vegetarian and vegan countries in the world. The U.S. is 4.2% vegetarian, 1.5% vegan. That is so terrible. The U.K. is 5% vegetarian, 2% vegan. Canada, 7.6% vegetarian, 4.6% vegan. So they have bigger numbers there. Germany, 8% vegan, 8% vegetarian, 2% vegan. Sweden, 6% vegetarian, 4% vegan. Australia, 5.3% vegetarian, 2% vegan. The United States is the worst of all of them. We're the worst. And we're also the sickest country. Think about that. We are the sickest country in the world, and we're the country with the least vegetarians and vegans. Think about that. Think about that. Good for you in the chat room. Granny, 153. Yep. Good for you for her cholesterol. 150. Mine's 155. So I've got some work to do. My cholesterol to HDL-C ratio is 3.0. That's great. Anything below 5 is wonderful. And my non-HDL cholesterol, which should be anything below 130, I'm 101. So that's great too. Now, as I said, my triglycerides should be under 100 and my LDL should be under 70 because I don't want heart disease. And so I got work to do. My creatine normal, albumin, my TSH, my thyroid, it's 0.66. It's near the low end. And my PSA, for all of you men out there, don't hate me, okay? My PSA, which is for prostate cancer, anything 2 to 4, what is it? I think 2 to 4 is, they start to worry at 2 to 4. 4 to 6, you have some form, and 6 and above, you basically have prostate cancer. Mine is 0.62, and it's been below 1 for 20 years. So no risk of prostate cancer at the moment. And my hemoglobin A1C 5.4, I want to get that down. So the only out of range was my polycythemia. 5.8 is high for red blood cell count. Mine is 6.02. So as you see, it's not even 0.05 out of range. Hemoglobin high is 17.1 or above. I'm 17.5. And then hematocrit 51.1 or above, and I'm 52.2. So I'm 1 point on that. So that's so low that an oncologist wouldn't even see me. She referred me to an oncologist about 2 years ago, and they said those numbers aren't high enough for an oncologist. It's like, you don't have cancer. You have something else causing it. So basically only 4 things in the red out of 100 results, but it showed me I need to lose the weight. Should I do a GLP-1? I may qualify. I don't know. I am really on the fence about that. I may qualify for a GLP-1, and I don't. If I lost weight, my sleep apnea would get better. My hypoxia at night might get better. My red blood cells might come down a lot, and my fasting blood sugar would come down. So most of my problems could be solved if I lost 25 pounds. I like to cook. We were going to cook today on the show. I apologize that we're not going to. On Monday's show, we are going to make 2 delicious soups. Monday is going to be an in the soup show. We're going to do broccoli cheese, vegan broccoli cheese, and tomato on Monday's show. So stick around for that on Monday, unless he gets us into a war or a nuke is launched or something like that. So that's those were the numbers that I was concerned about today. I wasn't concerned about Ebola. I wasn't concerned. And I think the same goes for you. I think that, there's so many overwhelming world issues that we're all starting to focus back on ourselves, which is not a bad thing, because these numbers are the most important numbers of your life. And if you're not having routine labs done at least once a year, please start. Please. You can even order the test yourself nowadays online. You can at Quest Diagnostics and LabCorp. Once a year, have a CBC. Have a complete metabolic panel. Check your liver. Check your kidneys. They checked mine. My pancreas, my liver. Alkaline phosphate, AST, ALT, all in normal range. My albumin, globulin, protein, 6.9. Oh, vegans, they don't have enough protein. The range is 6.0 to 8.0. I am 6.9. Guess what? I got enough protein as a vegan. Calcium, 9.3 without eating dairy. How about that? Potassium, 4.4. If I go below 4, I get AFib. See, and I'm a vegan. White blood cells, 4.9. That's totally fine. Oh, yes. I was a little worried about my MPV. That's the size of my platelets. My platelet count's 186. And the MPV is the size of the platelets, and if they're too small, if the number is too high, it means your bone marrow is malfunctioning. The reference range is 7.5 to 12.5, and mine's 11.8. But see how I get upset, even though it's in the normal? It's like, well, it's 12.5 is high, and mine's 11.8. Yes, but it's not 11.8. So just calm the frack down. And then, of course, all my eosinophils and neutrophils, which I could tell you what all of those are about. My urine is perfect. My pH is 6.5, glucose negative, bilirubin negative, ketones negative, blood negative, protein negative, nitrites negative, leukocyte esterase negative, white blood cells none seen, red blood cells none seen, squamous epithelial cells none seen, bacteria none seen, hyaline cast none seen. Isn't that something? Isn't that wonderful? I might live to see another day. Creatine random urine 49, totally fine. Albumin, less than 0.2, totally fine. My thyroid's low, 0.66. Now, it's low normal, but 0.4 is the lowest it should be. I wonder if my thyroid's given out. It's like, had enough of me. And my prostate's fine, 0.62 for my PSA. And then my A1C, 5.4. I want it to be 5.0 or below. So losing weight would do that for me, too. So we all have these things that we know we need to do. And for me, it's weight loss. If I lost 25 pounds, those numbers would get so much better. They just would. And they're not bad now. They're great now. For 63 years old, ChatGPT was like, you have great blood work for 63 years old. I was like, well, thank you, ChatGPT. What is 11 plus, Phineas, in the chat room? Oh, his PSA? Oh, Lord. Mine is 0.6. Dell, who is 83 at the park, his is 7, and he hates me. He asked me the other day, he goes, what's your PSA? I said, below 1. He goes, I hate you. I thought, well, I'm not 83. Give my prostate another 20 years. But you have to ejaculate at least 21 times a month for prostate health. I'm not making that up. If you're a man and you're listening to me, it has been scientifically proven you must ejaculate 21 times a month for prostate health. So basically 3 weeks out of the month, every day. Now you can break that up and skip a day or two, whatever, but you have to, particularly as you age. Men over 60 that ejaculate at least 5 times a week have an 80% less chance of prostate cancer. You got to use it. Use it, honey. Use it. You don't have to be with somebody, by the way. You don't have to be having sex. Although I wouldn't mind having sex 21 times a month. I wouldn't mind having sex 21 times a year. I wouldn't mind having sex 21 times in the last decade. I'm laughing because it's so true. I haven't had sex 3 times in the last decade, let alone 21. But anyway. Now, see what I just did. Okay? I did for a reason. A, this is a great topic. And we all have blood work and we all like to interpret it. But B, this is what we should be getting on the President of the United States. I would like to know his PSA. I'd like to know his cholesterol, triglycerides, and all of that. Wouldn't you like to know the numbers that I just gave you on myself, on the President of the United States? What's his white blood cell count? Red blood cell count? You know, what is it? He's our employee.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
21 times a month, I'm telling you. Boys, get busy. You guys, I got to get back on stage. I've got to come see you. I miss you so much. I realize that. I'm aging. These numbers are not always going to be as good. Okay? Now, I find out next week about my heart. And if my aorta is stable, or if I expect that it's grown. I expect it's going to be 4.5. I hope it's not going to be bigger than that. I hope. But because at 5.0, you have to see a surgeon. But if he says it's good to go, that I can endure the rigors of stage, I miss you guys so friggin' much. I miss the Raz Room. Well, the audience. I miss, Planet Gemini in Monterey. Now, I'm worried that I can't draw the audience because I'm not on KGO. I'm not on KRXA. And so I don't know how I'm going to get the word out. I got to sell at least 100 tickets or they won't let me do a show. And Maureen Langan, America's Got Talent, KGO. Maureen Langan said she would do the show with me if she's available for the dates. I would love Maureen and I to come and see you guys. It would just make my heart burst with joy. It really would. So I got to figure that out. Only I can figure that out. No promoter is going to book me. I've got to call, arrange the venue, maybe even rent the venue. Maybe sell pre-sale tickets and then rent the venue. I mean, I don't know, but I got to do it. Got to get back on stage. Got to come and see you. I got to, because I love y'all. Besides, I have to prove to myself I can still do it. I haven't done a live show in 8 years. And I need to prove to myself that I can still get out there, get on stage, and do it. So my numbers are what I obsessed on yesterday. And Ember, her insurance company, Trupanion, which is the worst on the planet, refused a $600 blood test because they said in 2024 she had a mouth issue. And I said, yeah, but then she had a dental and that fixed the mouth issue. Yes, but it could have been this. But it wasn't. Yes, but that's a symptom of what you want the blood test for. Yes, but the symptom went away after the dental cleaning. They don't care. She was seen for a sore jaw back in 2024 for licking and chewing, and we found out it was a broken tooth and fixed it. But because of that, they won't cover this blood test for this MMM stuff. And her jaw is the biggest worry of my life right now. It's all I think about. Because she chews like she's chewing gum a lot, and her bottom jaw has started stuttering. Stuttering, and so I'm worried that there's something major. And so I looked into CT scans yesterday because they're not going to cover it. If they don't cover this blood test, they're not going to cover the CT. CTs are $3,500. And her doctor already said she may need one. I'll have to charge it and pay it off in years. So much for a vacation, so much for going to see friends in Florida or going to see my niece and nephew up north. I mean, if she has to have it and then they have to sedate her and, oh, God, I've been so worried. And I wish I could come here and do a show like Stephanie and David Packman and just not let those worries be on my mind. But those are the worries on my mind every day. Where am I going to, and then I feel bad. I feel bad that you're Karel and you're 63 years old. Why is $4,000 a big deal? Why didn't you save your money? Why didn't you invest? Why didn't you make KGO pay you more? Why didn't you do more endorsement deals? Why didn't KFI pay you more? You've done 5 seasons on television. Why don't you have an agent? Why aren't you out there? Oh, God, I get so down on myself. And I tell myself what a failure I am because I can't afford an MRI for Ember. And I'm just being honest with you all. Maybe it's not a good podcast where the host is honest with you. Okay, maybe that's not a good podcast. Maybe that's why I don't have the 4 million viewers that Adam Mockler does, this 23-year-old liberal. 4 million people on his YouTube. You know, and maybe I don't have it because I'm too personal. But see, I tend to think that these are the issues that you think about all day long. You do not obsess over Trump and Iran and all of that all day long. You obsess over, I need a medical test. I don't have the money. My animal is sick. They need to go to the doctor. Their insurance doesn't cover it. I don't have the money. My car is broken. My car needs new tires. It's $800. Where am I going to get the money? That's what I think you think about. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think most people think about. School's back. The kids need new clothes. Clothes are hugely expensive. You know, our food budget is $700 for the month, but now it's costing us $900. These are the things that I think you think about. If I'm wrong, tell me down below. But I don't think you sit and think about, you know, some of the stuff in the news all day long. I really think you think about the stuff that I've just been, like your blood numbers. When you have these tests, I really believe that you go over them and you try to figure them out and try to see if you're okay. You just don't worry that Iran fired a missile at Kuwait after U.S. strikes, even though Trump is saying the ceasefire is, yeah, you think about it, but you don't worry about it. You know, E. Jean Carroll is being investigated for possible perjury, which she did not commit. And yeah, you hear that story and you get mad and you think it's Trump seeking retribution. But again, that's not what you focus on. What you focus on is, I got to go fill up the car with gas. It's going to be $90 fucking. That's what you focus on. How am I going to cut back on driving this week? Or I'm on Social Security. I'm on a pension. Do I have lasting security? Am I going to have a paycheck in 5 years? That's what you worry about. At least that's what I worry about. Maybe I'm weird. You know, maybe I'm just weird. Oil prices fall. So what? I just drove by the gas station. The prices are still high. You know? Hilton's chances of beating Becerra in California. I'm worried about the California governor race. I am a little worried about that. Now, I lived in California under 2 Republican governors, Duke Majan and Schwarzenegger, and we made it. You know, we survived, but it wasn't great. I hated Duke Majan. Oh, what an asshole he was. Schwarzenegger, but Duke Majan, oh, God, he was a friend of Reagan's. It was bad. They need to get their crap together in California. They really do. What's wrong with the Democrats? They might lose the mayorship, the governorship. What's up?
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast, driving you home or driving you crazy.
Now it's your time.
So Monday we're making soup. I hope you'll enjoy that. We'll do kitchen talk. You know, someone in the chat room just now, Rachel, very nice lady, said, who is this negative person in your head making you feel this way? We all have that person in our head. All of us. You're too fat. You're too ugly. You're too this. You're too poor. You're too broke. Oh, you messed up. You made too many mistakes. Look, I look at Graham Norton, okay, and I think I am that good. You know, why aren't I the American Graham Norton? And I realize it's because when I came up in my 20s and 30s and 40s, when I should have been on television, I wasn't allowed to be on television. Now, let me explain, because you guys are going to go, wait a minute. There was Rosie O'Donnell and Ellen, and they were both gay. What were they? What were they? Gay women. America has a very real problem with gay men. That's why most of the representation on television, whether it's in fictional TV shows or talk shows, are lesbians. America has a problem with gay men. That's why Heated Rivalry shocked me, the success of Heated Rivalry. But we found out it was women, straight women. And my friend Kaylin, Tyler's wife, she just watched it, and she loves it. She's in love with Connor Story. She loves Hudson. She loves their affair. You know, she loves it all. Straight women love Heated Rivalry. Straight men, not so much. Some love it. Some have watched it and liked it and thought it was great. But many straight men won't even watch it. A hockey show where the guys have sex? No. Because America has a problem with gay men. And I was told this. You don't think I met with the producers at King World and all these other syndication companies. I even had an agent, and they took me around because they believed in me. Lawrence O'Donnell had me come in for his pilot when they were trying to see if he should even do a show. Every producer after that taping said, you should be the one having the pilot. And none of them approached me. I was in front of MSNBC producers who were doing the Lawrence O'Donnell show, doing a pilot. They called and asked if I would be a guest on his pilot, which never aired. They just taped it and, acted like they were doing a show. I went, I did the pilot. Every producer and Lawrence O'Donnell himself walked up to me and said, well, you're going to have a show of your own one day. And no producer would touch me. Why? Literally. Why? Because I was a gay man. And so I want to blame myself and say you should have tried harder. After Andrew died, you turned to OxyContin. You were too medicated for over a decade, and I was. My 40s, I wasted on a straight guy and OxyContin. Wasted. They're gone. I'll never have them back. And I wasted them on KGO, OxyContin, and Devon. That's what I wasted my 40s on. And so I beat myself up over that, just like you do. And this morning I watched on the BBC, there's a report out, not employed or in school. Basically, they surveyed 16 to 24-year-olds, and 1 out of 8 are not employed and not in school, costing the country $185 billion a year. And do you know what they say the number one need for these people is other than a job? Mental help. Mental health help. Why? Because they have been dehumanized and they are down on themselves because, as some wrote in, they've sent out 500 job applications and nobody even responds. That's their number one complaint. They send out applications. They don't get an in-person interview. They don't get a response. They don't even get an email back saying, sorry, we're not interested in you. They just don't hear anything. And they feel dehumanized. And they get down on themselves. Why can't I get a job? Why aren't I good enough? Why won't these people employ me? Why have I sent out 100 applications and nobody is interested? And it is affecting their mental health. Because we all have that person in our head. You're not pretty enough. Oh, your neck is too wobbly. Oh, you're getting old around your face. Oh, you should, you're not making enough money, or why would you get that job? You're not good enough for that. What makes you think you can walk out on that stage and sing like these people? I hear that in my head every time I walk out on stage.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes, at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
Someone in the chat said, well, what about Will and Grace? We liked gay men. No, you didn't. You didn't. I didn't watch Will and Grace, and you know why? Because it was too fucking unrealistic. Will, who was straight, by the way, the actor who played him, Eric McCormick, if he were a real gay man in that city, looking like he looked, making the money that he made, he would have had a new boyfriend every week. He'd be having sex all the time. Did Will ever have a boyfriend? Not until the end seasons. It went many seasons. Did Will ever kiss another man in the first 6 seasons of the show? Did Will ever kiss another man? Nope. Did Grace? Yup. Grace had tons of boyfriends. Grace had tons of sex. Did Will? No. Did you ever see Will in bed with another man? Nope. And Jack was comic relief. And while I know I am Jack, I basically am Jack, but while he was the comic relief and he was a realistic character, did you ever see Jack in a healthy relationship? Did you ever see Jack kissing, having sex, out on dates? Nope. It was Jack and Karen. And yes, gay men often have a female BFF. Yes, absolutely. But everyone says, well, Will and Grace, Will and Grace. Will and Grace never let their leads be gay. Oh, they were gay on paper and they acted gay. But did you ever see them intimate with other men? No. But did you see Grace? Yes. Why? Because America has a problem with gay male intimacy. Europe does not. So many of their shows. Look at this show, Half Man. It's a great show. They're brothers from another lover. That's what they call themselves, because their mothers were lesbians, but they were adopted, and so they're not related. And there is a real sexual tension between the two of them. And they explore that on the show. It's a British show. Heated Rivalry. The maker of Heated Rivalry said that he could have never made it in the United States. That show is from Canada, from a network called Crave. He tried to make it in the United States. They didn't want Ilya and Shane to kiss until episode 5. And if you've seen Heated Rivalry, you know that they fuck in episode 1. But nope. American television didn't even want them to kiss until episode 5. Because American movies, American television, and American talk shows have trouble with gay men. Look at Ross Matthews. Now, I'm envious of Ross Matthews, his career. I am. I'm very envious of Ross Matthews' career and of Randy Rainbow's. But Ross Matthews started on The Tonight Show doing that jaywalking thing. And now he's on the Drew Barrymore show. Why has no one ever offered Ross a show of his own? He's been on 2 very successful talk shows. Why has it? Because he's a gay man. They have a problem with gay men. So when I get down on myself, I remember that my whole life I have been fighting not just the hardness of being in the entertainment industry, but being openly gay at a time where America just didn't want it. Britain was fine. Graham Norton, big star, been on TV over there for 30 years. Big star. Do we have one large gay male talk show host in America right now? We have one, and that's Andy Cohen. I don't count Anderson Cooper. He's in the news. But we have one, Andy Cohen. And why does he have a talk show? Who gave Andy Cohen his talk show? Do you all know? Does anybody know? Anyone in the chat room? You know? Anybody? Anybody know who gave Andy Cohen his chat show? Anybody? Andy Cohen. Yep. You see, he was a programming executive at Bravo. He was an executive. And he came up with a premise for a show called The Real Housewives. Okay? The show became a hit. Then the spin-off became a hit. So then he gave himself a talk show to talk about The Real Housewives. And then that show expanded to be a regular talk show. Andy Cohen was an executive in the programming department who gave himself his own show. And the network couldn't say no because he threatened to take The Real Housewives off of A&E, or Bravo, I'm sorry. He threatened to take it from Bravo to another network if they didn't give him a talk show. He wasn't offered a talk show. They didn't say, you're great, you're funny, let's do a talk show. Nope. He gave himself a talk show. Why? Because gay men can't get a talk show. They can't. Anderson Cooper, again, is the news. He is not a talk host. Gay men in America can't get a talk show. How many gay podcast talk show hosts do you know of? How many? Name them. Because I can't think of any. David Pakman, straight. Stephanie Miller, lesbian. Come on. Give me a progressive gay male that has a talk show. Aaron Parnas, heterosexual. Is Adam Mockler gay? I'm not sure. He's been profiled by The Advocate twice. Maybe Adam Mockler is gay. Maybe. Doesn't have, and he's got a big show with 4 million subscribers. But who else? Who else? Any of you, anyone out there, post down below or in the chat room the name of a gay male progressive that has a successful podcast, radio, or television show. Because I can't think of any. Can you? Who? I cannot think of any. So yeah. Was Merv Griffin gay? Yes, Merv Griffin was gay. Yes. And guess who discovered Ryan Seacrest and brought him out here and put him up at his hotel and gave him auditions and put him on the game shows that he was producing, even produced 3 original game shows with him as host trying to launch his career. Guess who did all that? Merv Griffin. Merv Griffin and a 20-plus-year-old Ryan Seacrest. And we're not supposed to, think that anything... Nah, nothing was going on there, right? I've done shows with Ryan Seacrest, many, and people ask me, is he gay? And I will say this with every ounce of fiber in me, okay? I believe, it is my belief he is gay. I'll just leave it there. Luke Beasley. Don't know who that is. Don't know who Luke Beasley is. All right. So the main thrust of what I wanted to talk about today, which has gone all over the place, yesterday's show has not left me. Okay. When I get on an idea, it stays with me. I fully believe America died in 1861. The Constitutional Democratic Republic of America died when 13 states decided that white supremacy was more important than being a part of the Union. And ever since then, those 13 states have never wanted to be a part of the Union. They still don't. Texas has talked about secession still. Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Missouri, all of these states, South Carolina. They're red states. They don't want liberalism. They don't want equality, women's rights. They don't want any of that. Reconciliation never occurred after the Civil War. We never got back together as a nation, ever. People say, yes, we agree on so many things. No, we don't. We just don't. And there's never been a more hate-filled region of the world than the South. It is just, take it from a gay man, it is just a hate-filled. New Orleans is a bright spot. Austin is a bright spot. Atlanta is a bright spot. Orlando is a bright spot. Miami. But the wilds of those states, no. So in 38 days, we're celebrating the 4th of July. And I thought, what are we celebrating? The economy is horrific. We have a criminal president. We are at war. Americans are dying. There are dead Americans because of what Donald Trump has done. Iranians are dying. Palestinians are still dying at the hands of the genocidal Netanyahu. We are supporting Netanyahu's genocide. What are we celebrating this 4th of July? Independence? Really? When you have a president targeting his enemies, using the FCC, using the Department of Justice. Look at today, launching an investigation into E. Jean Carroll. So that's independence? A Supreme Court that hands him victory after victory instead of handing the Constitution victory after victory? A corrupt Congress, a corrupt Senate, a corrupt Supreme Court? What are we celebrating? We are so deeply divided, it's not since the Civil War have we been this divided on issues. No one is thriving except the rich. If you're middle class, lower middle class, or poor, you are not thriving. You're just getting by, and you are worried about your future. What exactly are we celebrating? 250 years as what? A divided, angry nation? Filled with people who can't get along? The 4th of July should not be a celebration this year. It should be a time for introspection. A time to examine, what do we really want out of our country? Because on the surface, there's not much to celebrate. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Oh, and to the commenter named Zaround, who likes to make ridiculous comments on my videos. Yesterday when you posted you can't wait to eat all the non-vegan food on the 4th of July, you pissed me the fuck off more than you've ever done. You know how passionately I believe that plant-based diet is the only way. Scientists agree that a plant-based diet is the only way to save ourselves and the planet. And you just heard my blood numbers. Okay? To post that meant you were purposely taking a jab at me and something that I strongly believe in. So why do you fucking listen to my show? Come on. You know, I am getting militant about a few things. And being a vegan or vegetarian, look, if you can't commit to being a vegan, that's fine. Be a vegetarian. You know, I hate the dairy industry, and if you saw what they did to the cows, you would not drink milk. But if that's your gateway to veganism, if you become a vegetarian or become a flexitarian, you know, eat meat once a week. Once a week. Chicken or fish once a week. That's once a week. Have your chicken or fish once a week. Have your milk and dairy and cheese once or twice a week. That's fine. The planet will survive if we do that. So that's okay. Be a flexitarian. But this whole carnivore thing's got to stop. You can't have meat 7 days a week. You can't. And you can't have dairy 7 days a week. And if you think you can, you're a fucking idiot. Oh. Sorry about that. Oops. Was that my outer voice? I'm so sorry. I really am. But you are, Blanche. Become a flexitarian. Have fish once a week. Have chicken once a week. So twice a week, have meat. One of it being chicken, one of it being fish. Go ahead. Have milk on those days too if you want. Or cheese. Or yogurt. Or whatever. That's fine. Twice a week. 8 times a month. The rest of the time, plant forward. Beans, lentils, all of it. So what are we celebrating on this 4th of July? We're a fat, sick nation that needs drugs to get us skinny. Drugs that even I'm considering. You know? We are divided. Gas is $5 a gallon or thereabouts. Food prices are soaring. People are deciding whether to pay their bills or put in gas or buy food. A president that's a criminal. The Epstein files. No one's talking about them anymore. Rich white men have actually gotten away with screwing underage girls. There's going to be no repercussions in America for these men that did these atrocious acts. None. That is a national shame. That is disgusting. The Epstein files are gone. His Iran folly worked. We've now been, 3 months in Iran? And it's been 3 months since you've heard about the Epstein files. It worked. All we keep hearing about is his ballroom. Ballroom, ballroom, ballroom. He probably wants the ballroom so he can ball underage people down in the bunker. And I'm not making that up. You know? Oh, I know. People over the meat topic, you know, they just lose their minds. You know? Yes, Trump is a murderer of children. I agree. And I have the proof. He dropped the bomb on a school. He ordered it. That's a murderer.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
So I don't know what we're celebrating. I really don't. I don't. The fireworks drive Ember crazy. I wish there was a place I could go where there were no fireworks. I guess another country. I should leave the country so I don't have to have fireworks around the 4th. They terrify Ember and veterans. And now we can do drone shows and don't need fireworks. But even that, what the fuck is with fireworks? Why do we emulate bombs and explosions? It terrorizes veterans. It terrorizes animals, not just dogs, birds, squirrels, rabbits. They're bad. They're bad for the environment. They're bad for the sky. They're bad for the animals. And they glorify bombs. But for some reason on the 4th of July, you can't go to a hologram show or a drone show. You got to go to a firework. It's your God-given right to go spend $200 that you don't have on a box of shit that's going to blow up. Just buy beans and blow it out your ass. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get what we're celebrating. They now have drone shows where they use 20,000 drones, and it's incredible. They've had them over the strip. It's incredible. The things they can do now with drones and drone shows, it's mind-boggling. It's so beautiful. Use those. No more fireworks. None. But that's just like meat. If you tell someone you can't have fireworks on the 4th of July, they'll lose their fucking minds. You know, just like if you tell them you can't eat meat every day. Yes, I can. If I were president, I would make octopus illegal on day one. I would sign an executive order prohibiting the sale of octopus in the United States on day one. No more octopus. No crab, no lobster, none of that. They're all sentient beings. They have been declared such in the UK and other countries. Science has declared them such. No, and pigs, no pork. No pork. Well, and cows. You know what? I would be the first president to outlaw meat, and I'd probably be assassinated for it, and that's the truth. But I would outlaw it. We just couldn't have any. No more meat. Meat should be so overpriced that most people can't afford it because of what it does to the environment. Meat should be reflective in price of the price we pay for the meat. Meat destroys our planet. That's what it does. So we should have to pay. The same with fireworks. They should be so expensive that only professionals can afford them. You should not be able to. I don't mind sparklers. Have your sparklers. Nothing that goes boom. You can have sparklers, have those snake things that come out the ground, you know, all of that. But nothing that flies in the air and goes boom, period. No M80s, none of that. And what are you celebrating anyway? That you can blow shit up? Woohoo! Oh, we get it so wrong here. All right, tomorrow is going to be This Gay Week with Scott Jacobson and myself. I'm going to tell you about Alex Rodda, R-O-D-D-A. He is a child that needs to be remembered. We're going to talk about him tomorrow and so much more with Scott, who is in the Ukraine. So that'll be tomorrow. And then Monday, I'll be back, of course, in the kitchen with a 2-soup day. Monday is going to be soup day. I'm going to teach you to make the best tomato soup you've ever had. I make the best tomato soup in the world. And I'm also going to teach you how to make cream of broccoli soup on Monday, because you should have a lot of soup in your refrigerator. You should always have soup. That way when it's dinner time, you don't want to cook, have a bowl of soup and some crackers, or a bowl of soup and some toast, or, something, but a bowl of soup. So I'm going to teach you on Monday how to make 2 delicious soups. So tune in for that tomorrow, this gay week, and leave your comments down below. Like and subscribe at youtube.com/reallykarel. If you are a patron, it's patreon.com/reallykarel, patreon.com/reallykarel. And if you follow me on Instagram, it's Karel Official, Karel Official on Instagram. So go ahead and follow me there and get those numbers up. Cows are very, very smart. Cows make best friends. They do. And if they're separated, they mourn. Every animal is smart. This notion that we've told ourselves for years that we're killing animals and they're stupid and they don't care, that's the most ridiculous argument for eating meat I've ever heard. Pigs are smarter than dogs. You don't eat your puppies. Okay? Cows are extraordinarily smart. Octopi are really smart. They use tools. They can do math. Whales speak languages. We know this. Lobsters and crabs protect their families, have social hierarchy, create communities. We got to stop acting like humans are the only thing on this planet that are sentient and worthy of life. Elephants mourn their dead, have feelings. Everything, deer, gazelles, they all want to live. They all have family and friends, and they all can think. We just found out beluga whales are self-aware. Because self-aware, one of the tests is you put a mirror in, if you take your dog, put it in front of a mirror, and then put a spot on its head, it's not going to notice. They're not self-aware. A beluga whale will notice. They're self-aware. Octopi are self-aware. They know if you've changed something about them. They know. And yet we kill them and slice their tentacles off and place them over a bed of arugula and serve them to people. That happened last week when I was at a dinner. And when that tentacle came out on top of the arugula, I almost threw up. It looked like a human arm. That's how it looked in my head. Like someone had chopped off someone's arm, because that's what it was. It was the arm of a sentient, smart being laying there. And the suckers that they were so enjoying, those suckers can tell your scent. They can tell them who you are. Oh, it looked gross. It was so horrible. It was bad. Yes, tomato soup with no salt. I don't use salt. So yes, on Monday, we're going to teach you how to make the best tomato soup. And there's a key. There is a key to delicious tomato soup. And I'm not going to tell you what it is till Monday. But it's the one thing most people don't do that I do, which makes mine so good. In fact, I have some in the fridge. I'm going to probably have it for lunch. I keep it in hand all the time. I don't eat a grilled cheese. I love, vegan cheese ain't that bad nowadays, but a quarter cup of it has 6 grams of fat, and I'm trying to stay under 10 grams a day, and it's working. My my LDL went from 105 to 81 because I've been measuring and cutting out. I am Karel. You be who you want to be, so don't hurt you, buddy. Thank you all. I love you so much. We'll see you on tomorrow for this day week at 10 a.m. and then on Monday for a live Karel.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karelcast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.